What is up, YouTube? My name is Introduced, and nice to introduce myself. And today I want to introduce you to even more animating, specifically the background of some things and the transform node, what you can do with the transform node in DaVinci Resolve, and also a little bit of 3D stuff, okay? So this is going to be super exciting. We're going to dive into a few things, and I hope I can explain everything perfectly to you so you can use it for either your Healthbar Overlay or maybe your starting screen, ending screen, whatever you want to do. You will have so many options, possibilities to create stuff, and I hope this will get you started. All right, let's dive into it, how things work, and yeah, start up DaVinci Resolve, hop into Fusion, and we will see what we do next. All right, I'm in my little box down here, can't get out, but you will see the key presses underneath. Whenever I press something, it should show up. If it doesn't, I will make sure to let you know what you need to press. And now I want to show how you can do this wire mesh kind of look and actually integrate that into your overlay. For that, we need to go into the Fusion page of DaVinci Resolve. We're already in it, obviously. And yeah, it is a really awesome, nice and neat tool that is already included here. And that is the transform tool. So for this thing that we're going to do, the transform tool is super important, or like really, really handy. And let's just kind of work on it, okay? I'm just going to clean this up here. We don't need that stuff right there. This should look familiar to you. If this is the first video of you watching me, then check out the video that it should be linked up top, because I went over in depth of creating this kind of overlay and already showed you guys how to animate the outside. So you should know this kind of look and how it works, and should be familiar with this kind of node tree as well. So now we just click on the right hand side of this and add a background, okay? I'm gonna press 1 so that we see the background on the left here. Just gonna change the color so that it's like more obvious what it is. And then we click and add a rectangle. You can do whatever you want. For this one, we use a rectangle. Let's just say, zoom in a little bit, put it all the way up top. All right, like so. And you know what? We're gonna click on the rectangle, copy it, Control C, and paste it. And now we just change the angle. Click on the right hand side there, and we change it to 90, like this. And then we're just gonna drag it out a little bit. We can make it like a little bit thinner, and we can make the other one a little bit thinner as well. Again, if you want them to be exactly the same, maybe check the numbers on the right hand side, or possibly, just delete this one, copy this one, and paste it. And then you can just do the same thing again, just return one of them to 0, and now they have the same thickness again. Okay, well, now you're like, what did that do? Nothing so far, but we got this little nice cross here, and we click on the background here, and then we click on the transform tool right there. Okay, transform tool. The transform tool is selected. I'm going to click 1 so that we see the transform 1 up here. And now if I go on the right hand side to the size and change the size, you see what it does, right? This is now what the transform tool does. It makes everything smaller and nothing really happens. But if we go to the edges right here above the filter method and click on the arrow down, you see that there's like a few things you can select. And we are going to go for wrap. And now you already see it starts to wrap around, or like it doesn't mirror because it's not mirroring, but it just repeats itself. So if we now change the size further, you see there's like a little mesh that starts happening. We still have the transform tool selected. If we now, for example, on the right hand side, change the angle, you see how it all rotates around the center of the actual transform node. And yeah, this is an easy way to just create this kind of mesh looking thing. But the amazing thing actually is if you, for example, go back into the rectangle, or one of the rectangles, you see it selected here, and change the angle on that, it changes the angle on all of them. So this way, like whatever you want to do, if you want to play around with it a little bit, you can make really nice, cool, fun animations, like make one thicker and then open it up again, use it as a transition or something. So many things that you can actually do with it. If we stay on the transform node and check out the other edges kind of thing, there's also duplicate, which is it just, whatever is on the edge. So whatever is touching this edge, and this edge, and this edge, and this edge gets duplicated infinitively. So if we just, grab this, we can now move it around, and we will always have, these lines going to the left and right. And if we went for mirror, it does look exactly like what we used before, but it's not, because if we go into the rectangles now and change them, you see that it's mirrored, right? Like it doesn't have the same effect as it had when we wrapped it, because it mirrors it. And it just gets a completely different look. If we click back on the transform node here and go from mirror to wrap, you see how it changes. Yeah, choose whatever you like best, I'd say, and then we can continue to the next step where we connect this or integrate it into our Healthbar overlay. I'm going to change it back, or like change the angle back, because I want to have the straight one. That was not what I wanted to do. I didn't even pay attention. I want to change the angle back. All right, now we have it straight. Okay, so for this now, you need to know what is actually your background, right? We can click on this one and press 1 and have a look and see, okay, so this background here is our nice little black stuff there. If we go, for example, to this background, press 1, we see this is just the inner layers, and if we go to this one here and press 1, this is just the outer. So now whatever you want to merge it with, you kind of need to find and then work with it. What I will do is I'm going to select all of these here and just move them aside so it's easier for you to follow along or see, and select what I just created and bring it in closer. Now press 1 again and see, okay, yeah, this is what I want to merge it with. Click here again and see, okay, this is the little mesh that I created. I want to bring it down here so that I see how big it actually is. And you know what, I'm going to make it way smaller, because at the end of the day, I just want it to be in here. And then we just click on the background and add another merge node. Just click here and add merge. And now we can press 1 on the merge, and we see this is the merge node. We grab the transform rectangle, put it on the green, and boom, it's all on top. This is because the apply mode normal is over. If we operator mode is over, if we go on in, you see it's just on the inside and just within it, which means the black is gone. And yeah, now the kind of the mesh thing is just within this range, right? I hope that makes sense. Just within these borders, within the mask, however you want to say. Press 1 here. If you change it to a top, it would be on top. We had a top on a different kind of thing when we, used like a little masking rectangle to make the name kind of shiny in the big tutorial, right? If we go on the transform node now, we can, move this around to our liking, wherever we would like, or, make it even smaller. And then, yeah, we could start animating if you guys wanted to. And yeah, now let's just animate it as well, as we are here already. So we're on transform, put frame 0, and just put this center here right on this line, okay? And then I'm just gonna hit center and keyframe and transform. Let's say in 120 seconds or 120 frames, which is 2 seconds. Maybe more like 180. Let's take 240, okay? And 240, roughly 240, we want this all the way over here. All the way over here. And now, if we play it, you see it, moving slowly, getting all the way over there, and therefore we have it moving. It will stop once it gets to the 240, but if you want it still to continue, we can open the spline editor again, find this, transform 1 node, which is here, and we just need to find it in our thing, which is, if you bring this here, it zoom to fit, it fits right where we are, and then we can just select these 2 things, go down here, and that should be set relative, and click on it, and now it will just continue moving afterwards. You see it just goes to infinity up until this is all done. and then it will start from the beginning again. One thing I sometimes don't like, for example, like it starts from the beginning again, and it seems like if we go frame by frame, that there's like a little jump. And I personally don't like when there's jumps, so I would always try to have it animated so it looks like a continuous motion. For that, you would need to play a little bit around with these kind of things of like, okay, when does it look like it actually, doesn't jump? But this is something you need to figure out for yourself, whether or not you even want it. What you could also do is that it stops moving at the very end if you wanted to do that. There's like a lot of things that you could try doing if you wanted to change the animation. Now for my Bavarian flag overlay, for example, that you can see in the background here, it's kind of wavy and moves a little bit. I also use the transform tool. So if we go on this merge here and press 1, we see this is kind of the background that I created just with this. So at first we started off with a rectangle, just put a rectangle there. And then we went over to the transform tool, and then I changed the size, made it a little bit bigger, and the aspect ratio as well. So it's like kind of a square. The important thing was that the pointy ones touch the side for later on, when we make it so that it wraps around. Then I had another one, made it look like very diamondy, so it's diamondy. And then here, this is the background, made it kind of bluish. And then the last transform is actually, making it really small, and then set the edges to wrap. And then at the very last thing, if we go to the background here, is white, and then we merged it. Plus, we used the rectangles, these and this here, and the displacement, so that it kind of becomes wavy when it moves around. Over here, we also used the transform tool like so, to have multiple of them all the way through, so that it actually, looks like kind of a flag flapping in the wind. Just wanted to explain or like show you other things that are possible with it, such as this kind of look, in case that is something you're into or you want to create. This is stuff that you can also do with it. But now, yes, let's go and dive a little bit, just a teensy tiny bit, into the 3D realm, okay? Should we do this so that you if you want to have like a little bit of on an angle moving around in the background, could look cool. Let's do this. All right, now let's use exactly this background here for our 3D animation. And it's actually easier than you think. I'm not going to go too much in detail, but almost all you need is actually over here. Otherwise, you can also press Shift and Space, and then this tool comes up. With me, it's on my side monitor, so I always have to move it over here. But this comes up, and then you can also search 3D, and then you find most of the stuff, or like all the stuff here. But actually for us, we can use these things. So yeah, let's start creating. This is an image plane 3D, so we need to add that. Bring it in here. Just need to disconnect that so it's not in here anymore. And yeah, let me just select all of this, bring it up. Because what the image plane 3D does, it brings everything into like a 3D kind of room, you know what I mean? We have this selected right now, and then we just grab this rectangle and attach it there. This means now I will press 1 on the image plane 3D, and we see we are in the 3D realm. So like moving around in here is a little bit different. This is mouse wheel pressing down. You can move around, mouse wheel and right click, and you can turn like this. And yeah, so like this is actually the easiest way to maneuver around. Like if you wanted to mouse wheel and right click, you can do that. Otherwise, this is still the zoom, pressing control down and then moving back and forth. But yeah, it's to turn sometimes can be like a little bit more difficult. If you just up and down, it's just mouse wheel like this. And yeah, so see, sometimes I just forget what's what. Right now, I made it a little bit smaller, the wireframe, as you can see. So I went into the transform node and just dragged that, or like made it bigger in a sense, so that these things are just a little bit bigger and stand out a little better. And we still have the image plane 3D selected here. And the next thing that we need is a render. Okay, without the rendering, we can't connect it to our 2D world. So we add the render node, and I'm just going to bring it on the side here. So if I click 1 now, this is what it looks like in the render world. Okay. I'm going to add a 3D camera in a second, but I just want to show you guys what happens if we work with now the image plane and go over to the transform node. You see there's like totally different controls. Now we have a z-axis, which moves it further back or closer, however we use it. And let me show you that this is the 3D world. On the left, you see the render, okay? If I change the Z, it moves back and forth. And rotation-wise, the x-axis kind of can turn it this way. And this is what we want to use. But there's like a different way too, where we can use a camera. In this instance, we don't really need the camera. We could use the camera, but let's just do it without, okay? So what we do is have the render here. And now we can connect the render to the merge node that we had before, right? So if we connect it here to the merge, it gets added on top, and I'm just going to press 2 here so that we see it down here, our little, overlay. And then there's the merge here. If I press 1 here, you see nothing really happened because in the render, it is in the middle and our nameplate is kind of here. So what we will need to do is go closer in again on the render and actually add a transform node. Okay, now we've added the transform node. We can select the transform and bring it down here. Bring it maybe in the middle, maybe somewhere here. Okay, and then we can also change the size again, like so. You know how far you can bring it so that it's like visible everywhere. And now we can go back into the image plane and, for example, play a little bit around with X. Oh, you see it already move kind of somewhere. And then we can, play around with the height as well. Change some of these things and play around with the X again, like so. Bring it down a little more. Something along these lines. You can also, make it move further back, like a little closer. And then if you're happy with it, like the look of it, we still have the animation of the transform of the rectangle. So if we now press play, you will see that it moves slowly. It's rendering at the same time. I mean, it's a 3D animation, so it takes a little longer. And this is how you can make this kind of 3D look, all right? That it starts looking like it is 3D on an angle, because it actually is. I'm just going to quickly show you also the camera way. We do need the transform node later for that too. But if we, in here, for example, add a 3D camera, like so, all right, bring that here. You don't see anything right now, because if I go on the merge node and press 1, you see that they are actually, the camera is way further back. What I mean by way further back, the camera actually is not seeing this little thing. So if we look at it from here, you see what the camera is seeing is there, so not reachable. Select the camera, but still have the merge node visible here. And then we just drag this slowly this way. And you see, this is the control for like sideways, up and down, and backwards, okay? And then you also have another control here where you can change the rotation of the camera as well. You just, you can play around with it yourself, find the best spot that you want to have. I'm just going to move it like a little bit further back here. And this way you can also do, you have like almost like a little bit more fine-tuning control here. You can move it closer and then change over here also the angle, like the field of view, you see, you can make a wide angle and zoom, and you can do so much stuff here. Like I really like, it's up to you. Open-minded creation, if that makes any sense. And yes, one thing you can also do, we have the camera selected, go to the transform. If you feel like it, you can also, animate it. So let's say we start at 0 here, and you just, tick all the keyframes here, like so, just everything, just because. And then, like we can go closer, or like move to 240 maybe. And then we say we move the camera in, and a little bit to the side, and then we go to the rotational thing. So let's say we wanted to rotate and also look down. Just be sure, like now, this will be the end frame that you will have, but it will already start, moving beforehand. What we can do is go on the spline editor and, select everything that is has to do with the camera. So here's the camera, just select it. We can go in here and then actually make it smooth. So here, smoothen it out a little bit. Now that means it's like a nice smooth movement. And if we went here now, you see the camera starts moving, and on the right hand side you see the animation. For this instance, like, I wouldn't really use it because there's nothing really that you will get out of it. But I just wanted to show you what is possible, okay? So if we just leave that look here, and just, I want to change the height a little bit, like so. If you just have that look here, and then we go out, now you will have it kind of looking like this, where it just moves sideways. And all, again, you're looking like this, if we press play, where it just moves sideways, okay? Because we had the rectangle selected, like I said, and that will still move sideways. And we still have the transform tool that brings it all the way down here. And yeah, this is how this kind of stuff works. Always, if you want to check back what it looks like, click on the thing that you want to see, press 1, and then you see the things, how they are. Here it's nice with the merge node, because then you see actually how it affects the kind of life here. And yeah, you can play around with it, give everything like a 3D kind of look, render it, merge it, transform, put it wherever you want to have it. And yeah, then that is it. I hope this made sense. It wasn't too confusing and or mind blown, but it's so awesome to actually use the transform node to, create these kind of shapes and everything. Like, it's super cool. I'm so curious to see what you guys create. And yeah. All right, everyone, that was it. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did so, please leave a like, a comment down below what you want to see next, any questions you have also regarding editing of Warzone or gameplay in general, because I've been editing for Joe Woe and Redman, and yeah, I kind of think I know some stuff about editing. So if you've got any questions, there will be future videos, I promise. I'm so excited that you guys hang around, stick around, and yeah, leave a like and a comment and subscribe if you haven't already, because that really helps out. And you guys, I don't know, it's like the most amazing community that I'm growing right now. You guys are just insane. Thanks for all the love, and I hope I can help you a lot. So thanks for coming by, saying hi. I'll see you next time.